All right, and good afternoon to all of our North Texas viewers. Here's a look at the Dallas Skycam from the Reunion Tower camera on earthcam.com. And you can see we got some clouds around the area. It's a little bit cooler today compared to days in recent memory. And this afternoon, we're expecting highs, well, anywhere from the mid to even some upper 80s. So it's going to be a little bit cooler compared to what we've seen. We also have some rain and thunderstorm chances to let you know of as well. So I'm Joshua Weisel here in the Weather 225 Storm Studios, taking a look at your forecast at the midday update. So glad you could be here with us this afternoon. No changes to the forecast, right around the mid to upper 80s, really just depending on which town you're watching from. One of the hot spots is going to be the Metroplex. As we zoom in, highs are going to be anywhere from 86 to 88 degrees in DFW. So with that being said, it's going to be warm enough that if you want to go to the pool today, if you want to, sit out maybe by the lake or just go for a walk in general, enjoying the summer air outside, it's not going to be super hot, so it's at least going to be a little bit more manageable when you factor in that humidity, but still pretty warm. And keep the rule of thumb. I don't really think it's the best afternoon, even though it's cooler, to be walking the pets out this afternoon. Rule of thumb for this time of year, earlier in the morning, later in the evening when things are a little bit cooler. So that's a look at what we've got for today. Overnight tonight, it's going to be a very similar forecast, lower, maybe some mid-70s across the region as we start your day tomorrow. And then zooming into the metro, again, anywhere from 73 to 75. So kind of consistent temperatures with those lows as we head into tomorrow morning once again. Rain chances today are going to be there. Now, it's still kind of like what we showed you this morning. Along and south of I-20 is when we're going to start to see rain chances a little bit better. In fact, we've already got activity, and we'll show you the regional radar here in just a second, that's starting to develop along and south of I-20. Zooming into the Metroplex, it's not always a guarantee that you're going to see rain even with this algorithm. Yes, it does a pretty good job, but you can see we're still in the medium to high range, but that doesn't mean that storms are going to happen. It doesn't mean that they're not going to happen. It just means that there is enough of a potential to highlight today that there could be some pop-up showers, maybe even a thunderstorm or two. Now, in terms of the totals, there could be some isolated areas, especially further to the south and east, where we're already seeing better coverage in parts of the area that could see anywhere between maybe 1 to 2 inches of additional rainfall. So not everyone's going to see that activity, but some of this activity may be a little bit heavier, may lead to some higher rain totals that are a little bit more localized. But overall today, a couple tenths of an inch, maybe up to an inch of rain looks to be the overall estimate for today. But some of those areas that they see more activity, or even some heavier activity, maybe closer to 1 to 2 inches of rain. So that's a look at what we got there. No highlighted risk for severe weather today, so there's some good news there. But keep in mind, with the ingredients that we have today, despite the fact there's no highlighted risk, doesn't mean that there's not going to be necessarily any kind. I still think this afternoon it's going to be one of those days where, kind of like we've seen in recent memory, you get 1 or 2 storms to develop, and then maybe one of them strengthens just enough that it leads to brief, strong to severe limits. It doesn't mean widespread activity. Certainly not everyone's going to see storms, and absolutely not everyone is going to see even strong storms as well. So that's a look at what we've got there. Here's a look at the regional radar so far today, and you can see a couple of better spots for some precipitation further to the south and to the east, and up to the northeast as well. Now, for our neck of the woods, we're not going to see widespread rain today, but there will be some scattered activity that will continue into this afternoon. So that's a look at the regional activity. Now, as we make our way into North Texas, here's a look at what we've got. Some of that activity south of I-20 already, and you can see some of it at times maybe a little bit moderate to heavy in some spots, especially in parts of the south side of the metro. So we're keeping an eye on the rain today as we zoom in here and show you that activity that we've been watching. Some of the greater coverage areas are closer to Johnson and Ellis County at this point in time, where there's a couple, moderate to heavy showers between Cleburne and Waxahachie. So that's a look at that activity. Future scan radar doing a pretty good job of that. It has it fizzling out by the time we get to around 2 or 3 o'clock. Take that with a grain of salt. It could last a little bit longer, maybe a little bit more scattered activity. And then as we head into later this evening, we're going to be talking about maybe some additional chances for some scattered showers and storms into overnight tonight. Not everyone's going to see this activity. And then again tomorrow, very similar to today, a couple of these little pop-ups that you get here and there kind of scattered throughout the region. It's a little bit random in terms of its coverage. And then as we make our way to the midday hours, again, some of that activity may be lingering around the region. So It's one of those afternoons, both today and tomorrow, where you get these little pop-ups. Not everyone's going to see it, but it's just something to highlight in terms of the forecast. Otherwise, rain and thunderstorm chances today and tomorrow right around 40%. Same with the weekend. So the moral of the story for the next several days is don't cancel any plans that you have. But if you're headed out to the lake, if you're headed out in general, going to the water park, anything like that, just keep in mind rain and thunderstorms will be possible. Not everyone's going to see them, but the main concern will be if there's lightning with any of that activity. So outdoor plans, don't cancel them. Just be mindful. Yeah, we got a rain potential. Maybe some lightning could be possible with that as well. As long as you're aware, you'll be fine. Not every day is going to be a complete washout. Not every day is going to have the same timing, coverage, so on and so forth. So I encourage you to check back for the latest updates here with Weather 225. That's a look at your forecast. Thank you so much for tuning in for this midday update. So glad you can be here with us, and stay tuned. We'll have more throughout the day. If you like our media and forecast, be sure to support us today on Patreon. You can advertise with us this storm season and throughout the year. Contact us today for availability and pricing. Weather 225 since 2015.